Hello, everybody. I hope you've had a great day today. Conferencing. Thanks again to everybody at Herbivore for having us all. I am Nancy Luna. I am a restaurant reporter for Business Insider. And today we are talking delivering with data, the operational efficiencies that power 30 minutes or less. We have Greg Rowen, head of strategic innovation at fast fine meal delivery company Wonder, and Mike Jacobs, founder and CEO of KitchenData Systems. Let's have a big hand for them. Okay, we don't have a lot of time, so let's just cut to the chase. I'm going to start with Greg. Greg, Wonder just shifted from kitchen van delivery to delivery from fixed locations, and you're doing kind of a hub and spoke model, which is continuing on with the flash cooking with turbo chef ovens. Can you tell me why Wonder kind of made this shift and the advantages of scaling this way?
Sure. Thanks, Nancy, and thanks everybody for sticking around, and thanks to Jonas and Harry and everybody at Herbivore. It's been a great day today. I've certainly had a great time, so thank you. I'm looking forward to happy hour with everybody after this. So great question. People are wondering, why did Wonder switch from the mobile restaurants to brick and mortar? And the short answer is the mobile restaurants showed us how successful we could be. So much demand, and the mobile restaurants were great, but with so much demand, we almost couldn't keep up with how that worked. And so by putting our restaurants into brick and mortar, we're able to have a much higher output. We just opened on the Upper West Side in New York City, and within a 10-block radius, we can reach 100,000 people in an 18-minute delivery time of fast, fine food being hot and delivered. So it just is a much better model for us.
And can you explain to the audience about what you mean by fast, fine food and how you've created sort of these virtual brands with some of the top chefs in the country like Bobby Flay?
Yeah, so it's really on-demand dining. The idea is bringing better food to your home. You go to great restaurants from great chefs around the country, and you have to go to their brick and mortar to experience it. And we've partnered with them, and through food science and technology, really through culinary engineering, we work with them to recreate their recipes. We par cook it, and then we're able to finish it in a turbo chef oven using time, temperature, and wind speed, which changes and oscillates. We have over 800 recipes, and by recipe, I mean a program. It's all programmed, every single dish. If you're Jonathan Waxman, the short rib or the chicken salsa verde or his salmon, the program to finish that salmon, to have a crispy skin and a translucent middle, takes just 2 minutes, but the time and the temperature and the wind speed vary to recreate his cooking process of that salmon. And that's how we're able to cook fine food so fast and have it delivered hot and as if it just had come out of Barbuto or Bobby Flay's steak or whatever it is. And so if you're in New York, you can get food from Dallas, Texas, or Atlanta, Georgia, or Asheville, North Carolina, now delivered to your door.
I love that. I love that, paying attention to really the high quality of the virtual brand. And so, Mike, I wanted to talk to you about your B2B operation. You match virtual brands with restaurants looking to optimize their kitchen with a delivery-only menu. Can you talk about how that works and how you develop your menus as well for delivery?
Yeah, sure. So we start, everything is chef-driven with us. We have our chef, Leo, who's optimizing food for restaurants, and we like to say that it's real food being prepared at real restaurants. And to us, it's a departure from the ghost kitchen model, which we think is a complete failure. It's very difficult for the restaurant industry, and we don't think there's a reason to open ghost kitchens per se. We know that the restaurants can do a great job preparing the food, and data from the last couple years has shown that the restaurant industry has really adopted virtual brands, where about 15% of the restaurants on Uber Eats and DoorDash right now operate virtual brands.
Can you pick up on why you think ghost kitchens are a failure?
Well,
I think there's a lot of people who work with ghost kitchens here might want to know your feedback on that.
well, it's really expensive, right, to launch a ghost kitchen if you already have a restaurant, and that's number one. And number two is it's a really small space, right? So if you're operating a restaurant like some of our partners, they really can't do most of their menu in a typical ghost kitchen. And then some of the things that I saw, like having operated a delivery restaurant out of a second generation building and doing 100 to 400 orders a day for a concept, and then transitioning it into a ghost kitchen. There were a lot of problems ranging all the way from consumers had bad experiences at the same address previously and they wouldn't order because they had ordered from that ghost kitchen, another concept, and it was bad. And to the fact that the cooks didn't want to be in a 250 square foot windowless ghost kitchen, right? So it was hard to retain staff. It was hard to prepare our menu properly, and the price point of the ghost kitchen itself was too high.
Can you talk about maybe any case studies of some of the restaurants that you've matched with a menu, and what is the ROI for them, and how do you make money?
So the ROI for the restaurants actually is a little bit hidden. So part of our model is to go into the supply chain and connect small, medium restaurants to enterprise level purchasing power, because we have hundreds of locations across the country, and we can save a typical restaurant anywhere from 15 to 25% on what they're purchasing for all of their items. So the ROI for them is instantaneous. It works for both their brick and mortar business as well as all of their virtual brands. But beyond that, we take real care and real pride in matching restaurants with virtual brands that have menus that are very similar to their own menus. So it's the restaurant's ability to prepare food that they're already familiar with SKUs that they're already purchasing, and to connect in a new way to their existing consumers via a cool brand that the consumers have probably looked up on Uber.
You and Wonder share some similarities because you kind of work with celebrities, right? Tell us about both of you guys, maybe starting with Mike, why that is, you think that is important to maybe stand out from the fray? Because I think Uber once told me they had 20,000 plus virtual brands on the marketplace.
Yeah, so I'll start with New York City because it's pertinent. And as of a month ago, there were 555 locations in New York City operating virtual brand. Now there's 556 with Wonder's high density restaurant, right? So those 555 restaurants operate about 4 brands each, right? So
4 brands per restaurant.
Per restaurant, yeah. So that's over 2,000 restaurants and brands on delivery channels. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of poor virtual brands that really just don't offer a great experience for the consumer. You'll see that they maybe offer 1 or 2 orders per month for the restaurant, and there's no story being told. It's not what I call a real brand that consumers can fall in love with, that tells a story.
So maybe Greg, you could talk about why you decided to go this route to create your brands through these chefs.
Yeah.
And name off who you work with.
Okay. So, for instance, we just opened on the Upper West Side, Broadway and 69th. And all we need is about a 3,000 square foot space. No hood venting, no fire suppression, no grease traps. This is just impingement ovens, turbo chef ovens that don't, So the neighborhood is saying, wow, we don't have an Indian restaurant. We don't have a steakhouse. We don't have a, pizza concept. And out of this 3,000 square foot space, we'll eventually have 30 restaurant concepts that come out of it. So it's saturating this neighborhood and giving them so many choices. DeFara Pizza is in Brooklyn, but you can't get it on the Upper West Side. Now you can get it out of our high density restaurant. Bobby Flay, steakhouse, and it's the steak. We blinded him. His own chef cooked a steak, and then we made the steak using our methods through his instruction, and blind taste tested him, and he got it wrong. And that's when he said, "That's it. I'm all in Wonder." Jonathan Waxman, I mentioned, Jose Andres, Marcus Samuelson from LA, Nancy Silverton, Mary Sue Milliken, Susan Fennerger. And that's the idea is, you're at your home, you can't get these unless you go to those brick and mortars. Well, now you can. We're bringing those brick and mortars to you, and you can get it every night of the week.
And so you mentioned that Bobby Flay did a blind taste test. That we were talking about that earlier, and he wasn't able to tell at all the difference between having his food prepped by his own chef versus the turbo chef and finishing, which you do. And how important is that hub and spoke model to scaling? And how big do you plan to go this year?
It's extremely important because we're doing all the lion's share. We did all the food science. We watched how it's made, and we do all the prep. So all it is you can have an unskilled person take what we've prepared, put it in the Turbo Chef, press a button, and the food science finishes the cooking. And you can't overcook it. You can't undercook it. You can't get it wrong. You don't have to be a culinary school graduate to prepare this. And this can go into any neighborhood, anywhere. The concept is proven. It can be across the country, and eventually international is a little, what's next to come with Wonder.
And since we're talking about speed on this panel, what is the average delivery time so far? Are you getting this steak? I mean, steak tends to cook along the way, right? Like while it's setting. How do you make sure that steak stays perfect for that customer who's
Great
ordering?
question. So if I'm going to call a steakhouse and order a steak to be delivered, it has to be put on the grill, it has to be cooked, then it has to be rested, then it has to be packaged, then it has to be driven and delivered. Well, we're doing all that up front, whether it's sous vide method or whatever it is. We're just now finishing it in our Turbo Chef oven in a couple of minutes. So from order to finishing to packaging, and then we're trying to use the latest and greatest in delivery, packaging, and hot hold methods. And we're only delivering within a few block radius or a few minute radius for delivery time. So order to eat time is definitely less than 30 minutes, probably more like 18 minutes. And again, nothing is overcooking on the way.
And can you both talk about packaging? Have you done anything different with packaging, or even how you develop your menu for delivery only? Whoever wants to start.
Yeah, so we work with a lot of celebrity brands, and for us, the packaging has a couple functions. So first, it has to be the right packaging to keep the food alive as long as possible so that it doesn't die en route to the customers. There's a lot of places where you could go wrong with that. And the last thing you want to do is steam your food en route, which a lot of restaurants do to save money. But when we offer our restaurants the ability to save money on everything they're purchasing, that includes packaging. So they have the opportunity to buy more expensive packaging. But for the celebrity brands, we can offer them a beautiful logo on the packaging along with QR code access to really cool experiences where they can connect with their community. And one of my favorite brands that we're launching with Wonder soon has some of the world's most famous people involved with it. And that was one of their first questions is, how do we connect outside of the food? And that was the first question that they asked after they tasted the Wonder food and said, wow, I need this to be my product.
Do you do anything different at Wonder with your packaging and how you,
Listen, we don't have it solved by any means. I mean, that's probably our biggest growing area of challenge right now. To Mike's point, absolutely, you don't want moisture to be in any kind of delivery method. We're doing our best. There's a hot plate, if you will, in a box where the food is, and there's certain measurements of distance between it so that it's not, again, cooking, but keeping it hot. And because of our short delivery time, we have that advantage, now. But it's something that we are working on internally and then reaching out, again, internationally to try and find what's the latest and greatest and most innovative way to get delivery done right.
And you have at Wonder your own couriers, is that correct? Yeah.
Yes, that's very important to us. The whole experience, last mile, our deliveries are our employees in our Wonder Chef coats, and handing it off with a smile and making sure, because we can't have invested so much and gone so far and have the partners that we have and create, fast fine is what we said. There was fast food disrupted the food industry in the 50s, and then there was fast casual about 20 or so years ago, and now the ability to produce this quality food that fast and that hot, we're not handing it off to a third party to take it the rest of the way. So.
Do you ever think you might go promote, though, on the marketplace because it's on third-party apps eventually just to market the brand, or does everyone have to order through Wonder?
We did. No, that's a great question. So we just opened a couple weeks ago on the Upper West Side, and we did go on to third-party apps for people to order, but we don't use those as deliverers.
But you use your own couriers for last mile. Are you finding that's a good marketing method as well?
Well, we don't have, we don't have following there yet, so we're testing it out. Eventually, we'll come off the third-party market apps, and we'll just be on our own. But right now, before we do any kind of guerrilla marketing on the Upper West Side ourselves, we needed to spread it out.
And so, what is everybody ordering? What's the favorite item on that they're going for these days in the Upper West Side?
I'll tell you, I have my own favorites. Tejas barbecue from Dallas, Texas, believe it or not, is incredible. People are flipping over Fred's Meat and Bread from Atlanta, Georgia, over a cheesesteak, and we're right near Philadelphia, and we're getting our cheesesteak from Atlanta. But Bobby Flay, people just can't believe that they're getting this quality, steak delivered at their door. So they'll order it. I mean, if you can get it, why not?
Awesome.
Yeah, and then my favorite, having tasted most of the menu, is actually the chicken wings. So are those Jonathan Waxman's?
Yep.
It all goes back to chicken, I guess. That's probably a good way to end it here because it is a little over. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and we'll see each other at happy hour, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.